it's just been good, and I love what I do today, and I love helping clients, putting a smile on their face, and handing them the keys at closing, and watching them open their house, and making their dreams come true.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just think it just makes you feel good at the end of the day, when you're able to help people.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Tim Hollenden Show, and welcome to my dear friend Bryan Decker from Colorado Springs, Colorado. How you doing today, man?
I'm great, Tim. How are you? You're looking festive.
Well, thank you. Doing really well, really well.
Good.
Down in South Alabama today at my second home. The weather's about 70 and sunny, but it's probably a little bit warmer than Colorado Springs, I would imagine. Am I right?
Today we're gonna have a nice day. I think we're gonna be in the 50s, so it's not all bad.
Yeah, not bad. Have you had snow yet?
Oh yeah, we've had snow and single digit temperatures and all. We've had the Colorado stuff already for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm super excited, and thanks for being on the show today, man. And to our audience, Bryan is a 30-year Colorado resident. He's going to talk more about that, but he's more than doubled his business since he joined EXP about 3 years ago. I'm just super excited for people to be able to learn from you and to pour into them, and let's have some fun today too. So,
absolutely.
getting started. Let's talk about Bryan Decker. Take us down the memory lane of your journey.
Actually, I'm a native of Colorado, so I'm a lot older than 29, Tim. So, at the end of the day,
I misread that. I thought you were in. Okay. I was trying to figure out how can you been there 30 years and you're only 29 years old?
Yeah, I know, right? Colorado native. But I've been in the Colorado Springs area where I'm at today for about 30 years, actually. So maybe that's kind of where that came from. But really kind of grew up in a rural community, kind of a farming agricultural kind of community, and was pretty active as a kid, athletically and different things, and kind of got into sales through motorcycle racing. When I was young, my dad, I got into motorcycle racing, and then the local motorcycle shop where we bought our parts and did all of our stuff with actually hired me when I was like 14 years old, and I started working behind the parts counter and helping clients and customers and doing things, and I was pretty mechanically inclined and did a lot of things, and ended up doing even worked in the shop a lot. I was putting new motorcycles together, the new dirt bikes, back in the day. And so I was just having fun, really.
Sounds like your first dream job, was it?
Oh, heck yeah. I was so, I mean, to get it was so cool to put a motorcycle together at, and one out of the crate and go test drive it, after you got done, and back in the day when, I remember Kawasaki come out with this 1000. It was a 1000 cc motorcycle, like a 4-cylinder, and I don't want to get myself in trouble and tell you how fast that thing would run, but it would fly, and just had a great time doing that stuff, and so kind of evolved with that. Stayed there for several years. Actually, the guy who owned the motorcycle shop owned a boat business, and they were right next door to one another, and I kind of through in between my college and high school days, I kind of made a transition. I was going to a vocational school, and I walked in one day, and the guy that I was working for before, I kind of stepped out of it for just the summer, actually, I guess, and because I was so busy, he wanted me to go to work for him in the marine side of it and sell for him. So I went to work for him. I think I was probably 17 at the time, maybe 18, and got into sales. Kind of been on commission ever since. It's they give you at the time they gave me a $500 a month base pay. Doesn't seem, it wasn't Yeah, I mean, it wasn't much, right? And the rest of it was all commission. So it was very interesting. And I did so well. He sent me to Colorado Springs when I was about 20 years old and opened a store for this owner. And I ended up buying it from him in the early '90s. So I got my own dealership, had my own employees, did all that stuff. So
Yeah.
um, it was just a really good experience. I spent 23 years in the marine industry, and we had RVs too. We sold some RVs along the way, but was selling boats, servicing them, and I mean, what a life! I mean, you're down in sunny Alabama or wherever you're at today, and just love the boating life. I mean, I grew up
Yeah.
water skiing at the lake with my family and doing all those things, and I mean, that was kind of a dream job. I mean, really, I mean, and the clients were great. But at the end of the day, it was still a business. You had to treat it that way.
Mhm.
And we were in the retail business. I mean, anybody that's been in the retail business knows that you got to carry inventory.
Yeah.
You got a cost of carrying that stuff, and it was a lot of stress at times, because to pay the bills and make sure your employees got paid and all those good things. But
Right.
um, I did that until like 2008, just before the market crash, when real estate, I mean, the whole market, even the real estate world, because that's where you were at the time, right?
Yep.
And the market crash, I got out about 6 months before everything just fell apart. Um, and I was hired by a lady who that I knew in the marine industry, where she was working for a local company, but um, they were tied to a company out of Switzerland. They were doing LED and solar panels and things of that nature,
Mhm.
and we were providing a consumable product to mostly Chinese, the Taiwanese, and the Koreans for making solar stuff and LED stuff. And most people probably don't know this, but you really only had two manufacturers of TVs. I don't remember if you remember when the the backlit LED TVs come out. I can't even talk, sorry. But we were really on the manufacturing side of the LED side of that,
Okay.
for the manufacturers, and they were mostly in Korea and Taiwan. But pretty interesting industry. And I stayed in the solar and LED business until about late 2014, 2015. They had a big layoff. That's corporate, right? I mean, we had like 4,500 people, and they narrowed it down to like 500. I mean, they just
Oh,
the
wow.
things really got crazy, and they got rid of pretty much all of us. And at the end of the day, so I had my insurance license. At the time, I kind of was doing life insurance and doing some of that. So I was doing some freelance work in the insurance industry, doing some things there, and I was doing freelance work in the LED industry as well for some clients that I'd actually were selling to, they wanted my knowledge and my expertise in that area. So I did that for a while. Um, we had a couple homes here in Colorado that we had that, two of them were rentals. Had a friend of mine through this process over a couple years. We ended up selling those homes. He worked for Remax at the time, and actually, I think he still does. And it really intrigued me going through that whole process, because I'm kind of an entrepreneur and on my own, and I was really on commission, this whole time. And I thought, well, you know what, he made a pretty good amount of money after selling a couple of my homes. And I thought, well, you know what, I think I'm gonna get my real estate license. And I kind of wanted to do that to free up my time. Time was important to me, to have time for me and my family, and even to take care of my parents. They're getting up there in age, and I thought it would provide me some freedom, and so I could do
Did
my
it?
own thing. Yeah, and I was no, well, no, not really. It didn't. Um, um, so
We
we'll
all
get into
think
that
that
in
when
a
we
minute.
get into the
Yeah,
business.
we'll get into that in a minute. But I mean, the corporate world that kind of burned me out, of having a, pretty good paying job, and then you get let go, and then you're like, what do I do? And so I was
Mhm.
doing my freelance stuff, but and getting by and doing the stuff. And then I just said, when I was in the retail business, I was carrying about $6 million worth of inventory, and I had to personally sign for that, and it was like, that was on my shoulders, and that had a lot of stress,
Yeah.
to have that kind of inventory sitting around to sell and make money off of. Well, I mean, the real estate world, I could see the big picture. I mean, look at all that inventory out there. I didn't have to own it. Right. I
Right.
mean, so I could sell it, make money, and do that stuff. And I just thought that was a good avenue for me. And so I could do what I wanted to do. And so back in 2019, I made that leap into the real estate world. And I started with Remax. I kind of followed one of my, the friend who was, selling product. I didn't go to work in his brokerage where he was at, but I did. I went to work for another Remax franchise that was close to where my house was, so I wasn't driving a long ways to to an office and stuff, and kind of started there. And good experience, great people, but there were some things that were lacking for me in that. And we got close to the holidays, and I'll be honest with you, I was a newer agent, and I wasn't getting the support I needed, because I was pushing for transactions, trying to get business done.
Sure.
And people at the end of the year, they checked out. They were really just checked out, because they worked their tail off all year long as a realtor, and they got close to the holidays, say, hey, I want family time. They want to get away. And that's what they did. Well, as a new agent, I needed some help, and I wasn't getting it. And luckily enough, I had two people reach out to me. Well, I had more than two people, but I had two people reach out to me. Jeff Morrell and Steve Carothers reached out to me and said, hey, would you look at a new opportunity and something different? And I'm always open. I just have an open mind when it comes to stuff like that. And
Yeah.
They showed me the EXP platform and what it had to offer. And my whole mindset when I got into the real estate industry, when I went to work with Remax, was I was going to put my time in, and I wanted to become a broker, or independent, maybe not own a franchise or be in the position that you were with Remax, Tim, but I really wanted to be an independent or have my own my own team. That was my whole goal when I got into the real estate world. And, I saw the EXP platform in that. And I know this really isn't about EXP. We're really talking about me, but it's important to know that they provided me a platform that I could do all the things I wanted to do, and not have the liabilities, not have the responsibilities and the financial burden on my shoulders, even like I had when I had a retail business, and so that really intrigued me. So I made the move over, to EXP at that point, and really dove in and started, doing business at that point. And that started right at the beginning of 2020, just before we hit COVID. And I feel blessed that I was where I was at when COVID come around, because of our ability to be in a virtual world, not have to have an office to go to, all those things that that our platform was able to allow us to do. And I don't think it really hindered us too much from doing business, other than what the restrictions that COVID put on us in general, just homes and stuff like that. But I mean, that's kind of my journey. I mean, I've done some other things along the way, but I mean, I don't jump around. I've been pretty much, the marine industry. I was there for 22, 23 years doing the same exact thing over and over. And I spent about 8 years in the LED and solar world, solar business. And then from there, I still have my insurance licenses and stuff like that, and along with my real estate stuff, but I focus on real estate today. I don't really do anything on the insurance stuff other than help some people out when they need it. But it's just been good. And I love what I do today. And I love helping clients, putting a smile on their face, and at the end of the day, and help handing them the keys at closing, and watching them open their house, and making their dreams come true. And
Absolutely.
I just think it just makes you feel good at the end of the day. When you're able to help people.
Well, I'm sure your life has not been all roses, but man, it seems like it, from building and test driving motorcycles to test driving boats, probably before your client made a purchasing decision. I don't know about insurance. That's a little boring to me, but and then selling people their largest asset they'll ever make in their life. I mean,
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
so gratifying to find that perfect home for that couple or whoever your client is. So you've definitely, and you're always smiling. I know you've had fun. That's what
No, yeah. I mean, I
today.
look back on it, I wouldn't change anything I've done in the last 30, 40 years, 50 years, whatever.
Really? That
No,
ruins my next question, man.
no, I
I was
mean,
just going to say, if you could go back and tell your younger self one thing that you should do different, what would it be?
well, if I could jump, forward in time, I mean, I would have the knowledge that I could do things a little bit different and be a lot more successful, probably. But I mean, my childhood and growing up in the boat business and all that other stuff that I was involved in was a great learning experience and enjoyed the heck out of it. Obviously, I mean, like you say, the motorcycles still a passion of mine. Boating's still a passion. We have a boat. We go boating all the time, and I've been on all the stuff, everything from a little, dinghy to, 180-foot yachts, down in Fort Lauderdale, stuff like that. I mean, so I've
Nice.
kind of done it all, but it's been a really good experience. I mean, I would say that I would have, if I could go back a little bit, I probably would have gotten into real estate sooner, Tim.
Yeah.
During that timeline when I got out in 2008 or maybe 2014, I think I would have. I wish I would have dove in sooner and found EXP sooner. Honestly, I think that's one of the big things that I wish I had done more research on.
Yeah.
And I think good, agents. I mean, you can sell, properties for anybody. I mean, honestly, but I mean, I could go somewhere and sell properties, but I don't have near the opportunity, at another place that I do here, where I'm at today.
Right.
And I think I feel very blessed for that.
And you operate as a solo agent today, correct?
I do, Tim. I'm a solo agent today. Yes. I
Did you?
I have to confess, I do have a little help. Diana, my longtime girlfriend. I mean, she's in the background helping me do things, So I mean, we kind of work as a team, but she's not really full time, with what we're doing. But she's made a big difference in our transition this year in our production and our business, for sure.
Yeah. Well, you've crushed it. I know your first year at EXP, right around 3 million and 4 million. And I know we talked previously that you spent some time with your dad before his passing, and then over 7 million in the last 12 months. So you've more than doubled your sales since EXP. And what do you attribute that to?
I honestly, Tim,
Obviously
I
hard
think
work. You're not afraid of that.
No, yeah. I mean, if you're going to be successful, you got to put the time and effort in it, right? But having good systems put in place, having a good, back office, like we do today, and collaboration with great agents like you. I mean, I can learn so much from people like you or other agents that I'm around that have been around for a long time, and plugging into our system and being involved has just made a huge difference for me. And it's helped me focus in areas that I wasn't focused in. And that's really helped me, I think, turn my business around. But I'll tell you, my first 2 years, my first year, I probably did more transactions than I did this year. I was doing a lot of small transactions, a lot of land stuff. I mean, you don't make a ton of money when you're selling a $30,000 piece of land every day, I mean,
Right.
so I did quite a few of those, but I learned a lot. And I'll be honest, with the first 2 years, this year's been a big referral year for me too. I've had a lot of referrals and a lot of them on the listing side, people selling and still taking advantage of the high values in the market. Even though I know things have changed a little bit here going, in the recent, 4 or 5 months, but it's been a really, I feel blessed that, I've been able to help people and they, like me enough to send me some referrals, and
Right.
that's been really good. But our goals for 2023 are even higher. So, we're going to, with the systems and the platforms and the things that we have in place, I think we can double our business again. And that's, and the collaboration, and that's what one of our focuses is going to be this year. And that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great goal.
Yeah, and I believe we can get there, and the platform we're on and all the things in our systems are I wouldn't say they're dialed in 100%, but we've learned a lot along the way, and we just have good things, in our back pocket that we can utilize, and
Mhm.
with this company, and it has made a huge difference in where I'm at today and my income and everything else.
Well, you've got some aggressive goals, and I'm certainly here to support you however I can to accomplish those. What would you say? The real estate market is shifting right now.
Right.
I always use that pendulum example. It goes all the way to the left, and eventually it'll come all the way back to the right. And but hopefully you're just kind of bouncing in the middle most of the time. And we haven't seen that in probably 3 years from a supply and demand anyway. But
Right.
what would you say, first of all, what's the most difficult thing you would say is in being a solo agent? And what would you say to the agents that haven't experienced a market like we're in right now?
Well, if they're new, to the if they're new to the industry and to the market, they definitely need to get plugged in to some, with some good agents for collaboration and learn from them so they can succeed. Currently where I'm at, I feel like, and I think to have success, I want to focus on the things I do best.
Mhm.
And whether it be a niche market or whatever that is, and really focus on it, sharpen my skills, and be extremely, extremely good at it. Now I need to look at some other areas and maybe bring in some potentially other areas maybe that I wasn't, I mean, short sales could be a thing, coming up with some of the things that are going on. I don't think that's is going to be a biggest thing, but you got some pre-foreclosure stuff going on out there.
Right.
Other areas that we haven't had to as a realtor, really look at very closely because it wasn't part of our business because it just wasn't happening with the way the market was. So I think you got to be open-minded to look at some of those things. But for me, it's having really sharpening my skill set, having my systems in place, um, and being consistent in what I do.
Yeah.
And I think, and that consistency is more for me is about the follow-up and following
Mhm.
up with customers and stuff. Cause I've lost people that because I didn't follow up. And I think that's really, and I think that's because I didn't have my systems in place as well, Tim,
Right.
not having a good CRM like KV Core and stuff like that. I really believe that had a big impact on, where I'm at today, and it will going, forward as well,
Yeah, absolutely.
and to double your business in a year. I mean, there's things that you have to make adjustments for, but and it's going to be a challenge. And I think you have to have good partners in this business. Like you got to have a good lender that knows what they're doing,
Mhm.
so you can, for your buyers that you can, so they can help get the buy downs in a reasonable, to a reasonable rate to where people can afford, the home that they really want, and until something changes to where they can refinance. I mean, I think lenders are a big part of, that you should have, one or two in your back pocket that you can really work closely with to make
Yeah.
things happen, because they'll do a lot of things for you that maybe just the average, lender won't do, especially if you're, giving them some business.
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
and I
absolutely.
and I think it makes a big difference. And it's not about me. It's about the buyer or the seller, because they're, that's who we're trying to help at the end of the
Sure.
day. And we got to make them happy and put a smile on their face at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And that's, you got to figure out what you got to do to get there.
Right. You commented earlier, and didn't even know the question, but you made the comment that a lot of agents shut down this time of year. And I've seen that every year, and I've been
Right.
in this business 20 years now. I never understood it, how an agent will shut down before Thanksgiving and they don't turn back on until the first of the year. And it's like, how can you do that? The hard work we put in today and tomorrow and next week and the week after and all the way through the end of Christmas into New Year's. I mean, those are the sales that we're going to close on in January and February. And kind of tying the question back to, what do we say to the agent that hasn't been through a market like this? It's kind of the same thing we say to an agent that shuts down for 6 or 8 weeks at the end of the year. This really is the time, especially in a changing market, to double down. Everything you do that you can do from an advertising standpoint for free, you need to be doing it, and twice as much of it. Calling all those past clients, calling everybody in your sphere of influence, just wishing them happy holidays. By the way, who do you know that's maybe thinking of buying or selling next year? I'd love to help them out if I can. But agents, I think a lot of them, not everybody, of course, but a lot of them just sit back and enjoy the holidays, and they should do that to an extent. But from a bad market standpoint, they need to not sit back and complain about how bad the market is, but just focus on how can I be better? How can I be more of service to my clients, and continue to build those relationships? You get what you give. The B&I model, givers gain. If I keep giving to people, I'll get something in return, and not even expecting it. That's just the way the world goes around it. But anyway, any comments or thoughts on any of that? I know you've not been an agent that shuts down for the last 8 weeks of the year.
No, it's interesting. My first year, Tim, December of 2020, for all the months, was my biggest month for closings. So I had my pipeline was going. I had a really good December last year in 2021. So I don't shut down, and I continue to try to drive forward, and I think it's about consistency. It doesn't matter what month it is. You got to try to stay consistent and do that, and keep your pipeline full, because if you shut down for the next 6-8 weeks, your first of the year, it might take you till into February, March, just to have any closings if you don't have things going on. And so it really sets you back several months, I think, if you're not really just being consistent with what you're doing. And
I agree.
Not every agent's that way, obviously, but I know as a newer agent, it's you're to have a buyer or a seller, it might be a little more difficult. So you got to be consistent. You got to be a little more aggressive in your mindset, and and be yourself. And as a person, and just be genuine and help people out, and they'll appreciate that. And you'll get a lot more sales at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
That's how that's always been my approach, and all through the years of being in the retail business. We were always when you go buy a car and stuff, they always put out the surveys and stuff, and it's very interesting. I'm all about customer service, because back in the day, we didn't get paid a good warranty rate in our shop if we weren't providing good customer service, because we had to have a certain CSI rating, which is a customer satisfaction inquiry, and we had to be at a certain level to get a certain percentage of our labor rate, and as a team, as a whole, and that's been instilled in me for many, 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 many years, because and I think it's transitioned over the real estate side, and that'll definitely help you sell more homes, because like I said, the referral business this year's been really good for me. And I know agents that live on referrals, and I know some that don't, but it's I'd take a referral any day.
Oh, heck yeah.
So when are you going to send me one, Tim? I just want to know.
Soon.
Good.
Maybe me. I need a place in Colorado Springs.
Well, we can find you one, trust me.
I always said when I was young, I want my regular place. I want a place on the beach. I want a place in the mountains where it's warm, and I want a place where I can snow ski, which I've never done, by the way. I water ski all the time, but I've never snow skied.
Well, then we got to connect on the water ski side of things. I'm in. So I'm in for that, for sure.
Well, come on down to Gulf Shores. We'll do that. I think the water temperature is still about 75 today, so it's not too bad.
Hey, I could do that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Talk about the coaching and the training that you've received that's helped you kind of do more and more business every year. I know you touched on that earlier.
I think, one of the things that I'm part of is a group of agents called the Freedom Team, and they are, and you're part of that as well. And everybody seems to just pour into the agents, we do, transaction training every week. We do, we do training on our systems, whether it be our CRM, and we really just pour into the agents to make them better. I tell everybody that comes aboard. Your success is our success because we want you to grow. We want you to have more success because our company strives on success because that's what drives our stock. That's what that does those things, and it benefits everybody, not just one individual broker per se. If you're working for a traditional brokerage, everything you do in that brokerage, you're doing it for them and yourself, but you're doing more for them than you are for yourself. So the coach has been phenomenal. We have agents from, you're one of them, Tim, from all over the country, high producing agents, icon agents, people that are the top one or two agents in their state that do a ton of training within our organization, and they provide all their nuggets. How can you not take advantage of that and become better? The only way you're not going to become better is if you don't plug in and be, take advantage of it. And there's more than you can absorb. There's so much training that I couldn't absorb it every day. There's so much training that we do, and you can get it on any specific aspect of the real estate industry, and it could be luxury, it could be short sales, it could be anything that you want to dive into, and it's there if you want to take advantage of it. And I just don't see that I didn't see that where I was at before, honestly. And I hear tons of new agents come over that have been around in the industry for a long time, and they claim that they believe this is the best training that they've ever seen or ever been exposed to, where we're at today.
I agree.
I don't have the experience a lot of them have had because they've been around longer. But when you hear that from a 20-year agent or a 15-year agent or somebody that's been around a lot longer, that says a lot, for what we have available. And, I just think everybody goes above and beyond to help the agents here. And I just think that's, I'm living proof, bottom line. And if you don't have to believe me, you need to ask other agents, whatever, but I'm living proof that our systems work. I've doubled my business, and we're taking it even further beyond that, down the road here.
You'll be saying you've quadrupled it when I do a follow-up interview a year from now.
Well, that would be nice, right?
Yeah.
So
coming back to what you said, I want our viewers to understand the training at eXp Realty. The reason I think it's different is it's done by the best of the best agents in the world. Yep. And it's done by our agent owner partners. Because at eXp, as you know, all of us own the company together. We're publicly traded on the NASDAQ, profitable, no debt, very, very financially stable real estate company. But the training I got, and you touched on this, and if you'd like to elaborate, go ahead. But the training I got prior to eXp, and one of them was from the brokerage that I owned. I owned a RE/MAX. And I was with another franchise for 7 or 8 years prior to that. But the training there was done by the smartest agent in the room. And their knowledge was only local.
True.
And at eXp, I've got 86,000 agents in 23 countries. And the training's coming from the best of those agents. And they don't care about competitors because we're not competitors. The best agent in the room at my prior brokerages, I was competing with them. Therefore, I believe they never trained 100% of their knowledge because they knew they were training their competition. And at eXp, it's not like that. My favorite of our core values is collaboration. I would do anything in the world for you, Bryan, and you and I aren't even in the same organization from a compensation standpoint. We're both members of the Freedom Team, which I co-founded with some of the other members you talked about before. But, we've got no financial interest in one another's success other than we both own the freaking company. So if I can help you, you let me know how. Because when you win, the company's winning. When the company's winning, all of us win. That's our culture at eXp, for those of you that have not heard that before.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we hear it all the time. One tide raises all ships, right? I mean, that's a Brent Gove thing, and he just, I mean, he instills that in everybody, and it's very true. You know, you pour into, our group just pours into everybody, and we have other agents from. You're right. I mean, the training's phenomenal. I just can't say, I mean, you have to take advantage of it and you got to plug in. I mean, you gotta be somebody who's going to dive in and do stuff, because it's just not going to come to you. It's not going to be handed to you on a silver platter. You got to work for it a little bit, but it couldn't be much easier, and you couldn't learn from, any better people, and just some of the most genuine people around wanting to share their stuff. And you're talking producers that are selling 1,200 homes a year.
Yeah.
I mean, like Veronica, I mean, I sat through a deal with her the other day, and I mean, the lady, they do 1,200 homes a year. I can't even fathom that. I mean, come on. I mean, and they're just sharing all their stuff. And,
right.
And the people like Jay Kinder, number 2 Coldwell Banker guy, comes over here, and I mean, selling 500, plus homes a year, and it's just stuff like that. These guys they care. And even our management of the company. I mean, how important is that, Tim? How just important they are, and they put the agent first, right? I mean, that's just who they are, and they get it. They were agents themselves, and so I think that, and I just think that makes all the difference in the world, and this company is going to grow like crazy. And if you're a realtor out there thinking about making a change or doing something, you better check it out, because or you're gonna be left in the dust,
right.
at the end of the day, and that's most people just don't understand how it can really benefit, from the collaboration standpoint alone, Tim. They just don't get it. And without being here, and I didn't realize how powerful that was until I was here. Yeah, because it's hard to see it from the outside looking in until you're here. I think that's what's really helped me, grow at the end of the day.
Yeah, when I first saw the EXP model, to me, it looked too good to be true. So I spent a good deal of time studying it and interviewing a few agents, and honestly, Bryan, the deeper I studied, the better I liked it, and the more I understood, and the more I realized, this isn't too good to be true. It's true.
Right.
But I found, and I talk to hundreds of agents every year, and I found most assume we're just another real estate company brand. And that's so far from the truth. I mean, yeah, we're another brand, and a pretty big brand right now, adding 500 to 1,000 agents every single week. But they don't understand that they actually have a retirement plan at EXP. They actually own the company at EXP. And also they get a great split and very low fees. And then big producers are going to make 100% at EXP. And, what would you say to the agent that's knows nothing about us or very little about us? What should they do if they're ever contacted by an EXP agent, rather than feeling insulted by being recruited?
Right.
What would you say to that person?
I would tell you to do your due diligence. You need to look at it. You need to dive deep, take some time, and do it. I know you took quite a bit of time before you made the move over. It took me 3 days. I didn't waste any time when I moved over. I mean, I saw it, I got it, I understood it, but I had a lot of knowledge from just the sales background and how sales organizations were set up. So I understood the power behind it. And that was my big major reason for moving over. It wasn't necessarily the transition or the transactional side of things, for doing business. Because I felt like I could do that anywhere. But I don't know that I could have grown. I don't believe I could have grown like I've grown being somewhere else without doing a lot of things differently and spending ridiculous amounts of money. But just do your due diligence. Talk to other people. Go talk to the agents that have made the move over. You need to look at everything that's out there. And I actually did, during that transition between, the end of where I was at before. I mean, and today I get contacted because I'm doing a lot of transactions today, or a lot more than I was actually. I get phone calls from other brokers all the time, wanting me to make a move as well, and come over. And quite honestly, they just don't have what we have, and it
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. I mean, I would always be open-minded. If there was something better, show me. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I don't believe that anybody's gonna top what we're doing today. It's just such a powerful model that we have. It's incredible from an agent standpoint of view. And as an independent agent, I mean, Tim, I've been over 100% all 3 years.
Yep.
And a lot of that's just due to production and some of the things that I've done with stock, and some agents don't see how that's possible, but it is. And do your due diligence, check it out, have somebody show you what's going on, and hopefully it's for you, and hopefully you'll make the right decision.
Yep. We don't know what we don't know, do we?
No, you don't. and I didn't know. There's so much I didn't know when I moved over. I just knew a couple things. Every agent moves companies for one reason or another. I mean,
Yeah.
You talk about those 500 to 1,000 agents a week that are moving over to EXP, and every one of them has a different reason. For moving over. It could be lead gen. It could be, the dollars they're going to make. Who knows what that may be? But at the end of the day, I can tell you that I was kind of tunnel visioned when I made the move. I had the broker mentality. That's where I was wanting to go, and I wanted to build a brokerage type situation. And I've learned so much along the way, and I'm making money in all kind, different avenues here that I just didn't have that opportunity where I was at before. So, and
Right.
it's about, for me, it was about the opportunity to grow and be better, and to take care of my family at the end of the day.
Well, now in essence, you are the broker of your own business, if you will, but you have none of the overhead, none of the liability, none of the risks, but
Yep.
all of the benefits, and then some.
Absolutely.
Now,
So
I don't know about you, but I came to EXP to have a life after real estate, because I've lost 3 realtor friends in the last 6 to 9 months,
oh, wow.
passed away.
Sorry to hear that.
And I don't say that for that reason. I say that because, I've never been to a realtor retirement party, but unfortunately I've been to a bunch of funerals, and realtors have a difficult time enough saving to pay their quarterly estimate taxes, yet alone saving for retirement. And EXP has an answer to that equation. Heck, we even have group health insurance that you can participate in. That's unheard of for 1099 independent contractors. How in the heck did we pull that off? I still don't know. But I'm saving about 50% of what I used to pay for my same coverage, health insurance, just by being a part of the EXP group healthcare plan. But everybody's got a different reason, like you said. So agents out there watching, listening, just keep an open mind. No, if you call Bryan or I mean, we teach this all the time. We're never salesy. We're never going to pitch you. We're never going to ask you to leave your current brokerage. What we want to do is educate you, because once you're educated, we feel that strongly that we educate you. It's kind of a no-brainer. I hate to say it that way, but people still don't move. Everybody moves for a different reason.
Right.
But we'd love to just educate you. Bryan, what's your phone number? If somebody has a referral to send to the Colorado Springs area, if there's an agent that would like to reach out to you and learn more about EXP, what's your number?
You can reach me directly. Obviously my cell phone, it's area code 719-339-3210, and love to hear from another agent that maybe wants a good agent out here to take care of them, and we'd love to do that and try to reciprocate if we can. I think I have a lot more people moving to Colorado than moving out, because we have a great state to be to live in, and but we're always happy to help somebody, for sure, and help another agent, even whether they're with EXP or not. It doesn't really matter. We're here to help, and we want to make that, at the end of the day, it's putting a smile on the seller and the buyer's face, and that's what matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Bryan, anything you want to close out with? I've run out of questions. I certainly appreciate you being on the show, and I know our audience has appreciated hearing from you, and I hope you get some referral business out of it. I hope you can have an agent or 2 or 3 or 20 call you as a result of this, just getting to know you a little bit better. But I appreciate your time. But any closing remarks?
No, my biggest closing remark is just, from a personal standpoint, it's been great for me, and I just recommend anybody that is looking to do something different, check us out, give Tim or I a call, and we'd be happy to share with you, more information, and so you can make the right decision, for you and your family. I think that's what's most important.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and as a co-founding member of the Freedom Team, our mission is to help agents obtain financial freedom, time freedom, and location freedom. Because it's nice to have 2 or 3 of those and not just one, because it's difficult to have fun if you can only have one of those 3. But that's our mission. We'd love to help you. Bryan, thank you so much, my dear friend. I appreciate your time today, and look forward to that next deal that I refer to you.
Hey, absolutely. Well, you know what? I'm going to take you up on the water skiing thing too. So,
all right.
In the meantime, I hope you and your family have a great holiday.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Appreciate you.
All right. Thank you, Tim. Have a great day.
Take care, brother.
All right.